In today's video, what I want to share with you is 2 things that you can do to your restaurant this week that is going to help you make your life a lot easier and improve your restaurant overall. So the first one is an easy one, but it's one that a lot of people completely dismiss because we live in a society where work hard is very important. It's like the harder you work, blah, 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 whatever. First piece of advice I can give you if you're a restaurant owner, if you're a chef, if you're a general manager, is talk to your people. Talking to your people, because remember, like at the base of it, the transaction between you and your employees is they come in and do their job and then you give them money for doing their job. But if you dig a little deeper, start getting to know your staff, you start understanding what motivates people, then it puts you in a position where you can put the right people in the right places to help you grow your business, help you grow your restaurant. Because I've worked in a lot of places where you can tell from the beginning, like you can tell right off the bat when someone's just working somewhere because they just need a paycheck, and when they're working somewhere because they actually enjoy the work that they do. Remember, I worked at one place and we had like 3 dishwashers, and the dishwashers worked 5-6 days a week. We had one guy, I'll never forget, his name was Eddie. Eddie was off on Mondays and Tuesdays, and Eddie would come in at 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. He started coming in late, and we would call him, he wouldn't pick up. He would just show up when he would show up. And it happened like, like on a random day throughout, like on a Thursday. And we're like, all right, you know what, whatever, life happens. And then the following week, it was a Friday, and the other dishwasher we had on schedule called out. So we're literally scrambling, waiting for Eddie, and Eddie's not picking up. And Eddie eventually walks in the door, and Eddie's just like, yeah, I'm sorry, that's it. Like, he doesn't call to say he's going to be late. He doesn't. So one day I sat down and talked to my boss, and the owner of the restaurant's like, D, I need you to fire Eddie. Eddie has to go. Eddie's not respecting the work. Eddie's not respecting the environment. He's not respecting his coworkers. He's not respecting my business. I need Eddie gone. I need you to find a new dishwasher. And I was like, let me talk to Eddie. Let me talk to Eddie. So I sat Eddie down. I was like, Eddie, can we talk for a minute? I was like, Eddie, what's up? Why are you coming in late? What's going on? Like, this isn't you. And Eddie was like, I'll be honest with you. Now, my family, we only have 1 car. His family was struggling with 1 car to take his wife to work, him go to work, and also pick up the kids from school. So I was like, why don't you say anything? He was like, So I was like, okay, so how can we fix this? And he was like, well, the days that my wife works and I have to pick up the kids from school, it's a little harder for me to get here at 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock because kids get out of school at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. And I was like, okay, so I was like, how about this? I was like, how about instead of coming in at 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock? I was like, how about you come in at 4 o'clock? And he was like, I can do 4 o'clock. And I say all that to say that all it took was talking to Eddie and asking Eddie what was happening, what was wrong, in order to fix the problem. So talk to your staff. You'd be surprised how far a conversation can go. The second thing you can do, this one's a pretty big one. This one's a very easy one. And honestly, it might cost a little money. I'm not lying. And this is basically just change your menu. I worked at one restaurant where we had a lunch menu. And lunch menu was available 7 days a week. And when I first started working at this place, I was just a line cook. And I eventually moved up and got promoted to kitchen manager. One day I came in and my boss was like, we're making a lot of money, but we want to make more money. And I was like, let me ask you a question. Have you thought about brunch? And he was like, brunch would mean having to come up with an entirely new menu. And I was like, you're absolutely right. And I was like, I got a question for you. I was like, why don't you get rid of the lunch menu on the weekends? And he was like, why? And I was like, dude, during the week, people that eat lunch during lunchtime at restaurants, it's usually people that are out and about running errands. It's usually people that's like their day off. And it's usually people that they're on their lunch break from work. They need food that they can get fast, it's efficient, and it gets the job done, gets them full until it's time for them to go home from work. People that come to a restaurant on the weekends is usually families, couples, people that are just relaxing and they're just going out to eat to have a good time. Unlike the fact that we don't have a brunch menu, it says a lot. So I was like, how about instead of having a brunch menu, I was like, why don't you just get rid of the lunch menu? So he was like, what? And I was like, yeah, just get rid of the lunch menu. So then he was like, but what happens when people are upset? I was like, I'm telling you right now, the people that come have lunch on Tuesday at our restaurant are not the people that are coming to have lunch on a Saturday at our restaurant. So sure enough, we were like, let's just test the waters. Let's take lunch off the menu on Sundays. we didn't have to do anything because we did have a lunch menu and then we had a dinner menu. So during lunch, we'd give out one, and during dinner, we'd give out the other. So literally, all we started doing was on Sundays, we stopped giving out lunch menus. So at first, we were like, oh, there's no lunch special? I was like, no, it's just dinner. Eventually, my boss was like, bro, we're making money. I was like, of course we're making money. Like, people are coming out to eat on the weekends because they just got paid on a Friday. They're not going to be like, ooh, this is not on lunch menu. We're not going out to eat here. And then he was like, all right, take the lunch menu off of Saturdays too. And that's what we did. And sure enough, business skyrocketed. Actually started getting bigger parties, if that makes sense. But yeah, take a look at your menu. If you have a lunch menu, think about working your lunch menu. If you don't have a lunch menu, think about grabbing like your 3 best sellers and turning them into a lunch special. That way you bring in more, bring more people in the door during the weekdays. And that's it. Like, honestly, a lot of times, if you really stop and think about it, it doesn't really take much to improve the quality of your restaurant and the restaurant experience overall. All it takes is, like, simple tweaks, like talking to your staff or, like, removing, your least selling item from the menu. You can do that. You're allowed to do that. It's okay to be like, hey, this doesn't sell. We don't have to sell it anymore. It's okay to do that. Especially if it's an item that's costing you money. That's all I have for today. I hope you enjoyed the video.